Okay, we'll call the Public Works and Planning Committee to order. I'm gonna ask Commissioner Brad Turner to lead us in prayer.
Sure. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you again for allowing us the opportunity and the privilege tonight to represent our citizens in this meeting. Lord, I ask that you be with us tonight. Give us clarity and guidance on the decisions that need to be made. Lord, thank you for everyone that's here and their public service to the citizens of Rutherford County. I ask that you continue to be with those, Lord, that are recovering from the storms and those families that have lost everything. Be with them and give them strength to get through this. And as always, Lord, we ask that you protect those who are serving overseas to continue to guarantee our freedoms and to protect our country. I ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Okay, first item, we'll approve the minutes.
Both to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Williams is out of town, has been. First item from Road Book Commission is drainage easements. You have a copy there. 7810 Midland Road and Eagle Creek section. So, entertain a motion to approve this drainage easement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Anybody got any questions on it? All in favor?
Aye.
The next item here is budget transfer. We had an injury here and a judgment on it, and you can see where they had to take funds out of different accounts here. Like on the second page there, you can see each account where they had to come up with the figure there, $94,855. It had to come out of the highway departments. And we'll need a motion to approve these budget changes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Everybody had time to look at them enough, ready to vote. Need to call a roll.
I have a question.
Okay.
Could we take out some of this money from those street sign funds instead of highway equipment?
No, because the highway road board has done approved it like this, and you don't have a right to change yours. Once it comes from the road board.
So if we can't change it, then why do we have to vote on it?
That's part of the process to send it on, as they approved it. That's my understanding with the law.
And I'd like to know more about this before I vote on it. Is this something we have to approve tonight?
Yes, sir, it's got to go on forward. You can ask a question when it gets to full commission. Down right there.
Do you know how much money's been spent out of highway equipment this year? Is that what's remaining, or, I mean, that's what?
Well, he's having to take, on this right here, he's having to take 55,000 out of highway equipment.
We're getting close to the end of the fiscal year. It did.
That's the reason they had to come. They had to come up with these figures right here from different ones.
Correct. I'm just saying,
and,
has he already purchased what he needed to purchase out of?
And the budget lady takes care of the budget for the highway department.
They limited their heavy equipment purchases. I'm not sure how much they bought, but it wasn't nearly as much as they had in their budget.
I think that's what she was asking. We're not
Yeah.
taking money that they're gonna need
That
or
No.
approve.
decided they
No.
didn't need to
That's what I
Yes,
think.
replace the equipment.
If you'll,
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
if you'll look, you'll still see $437,716 in equipment, and here it is, you ain't gonna buy nothing else for the end of the year. It starts over, July
July
1st
1.
anyway.
But that's what was budgeted, that's not what has been spent, is what I'm saying. I was just asking.
We bought everything we need
That's
this
what I was,
year.
that's what
Yeah,
I was asking.
yeah, we bought 2 trucks and, a couple of other pieces of equipment. All roll, eh?
Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Black,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens,
Abstain.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan.
No pass. Okay. That's all the highway department had. Building codes.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, you have your May report on the table for building code.
David, I'm sorry, before you get started, Mr. Chairman, there was a second highway fund amendment on the back. Do we need to vote on that?
Maybe I missed one there.
Oh, I thought we were doing them together.
Were they done together? I want to make sure.
Yeah, I wanna make sure everybody understood, we're doing them together. I didn't say we're doing them together, but that's what we normally do.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure nothing got missed.
Everybody satisfied with that? Thank you. Okay,
And May's permit activities, 201 building permits was issued. Fees taken in was $600 for plan review, $43,726 for building permits, $4,745 for plumbing permits, and $675 for gas permits, total $49,746. On the back of that report, we show, last year, we issued 165 total permits for May. This year, 201. Single families was 32 last year, 35 this May. We have to go back 1 year to compare a number that's higher than 35 single-family dwellings in May. That's not a good number for us, but it's a better number than we've had in the last year. And also, our permits go back 11 months on 201 permits issued this May compared to last April. Last June was our 209 total. So we showing some pretty good numbers from about a year ago, but they're still pretty low numbers compared to what we have had in the past. Our next report is our zoning enforcement inspections. In our red totals down on the bottom, 398 inspections on property maintenance, 84 BZA conditional use and sign inspections. New cases for May was 45, with closed cases 53.
David, what's the reason for the big jump from previous months to the May
No.
property maintenance?
Tall weeds and grass. Our grass, we had a wet spring pretty much, and we have a lot of abandoned lots and abandoned houses. But I account that for the big jump.
And I was asking you this before the meeting, but just for folks that might be watching, what's the process if they live near, an overgrown lot, which, of course we know is a health hazard? What's the process they should go through?
they can call the building codes department and report the address if it is in a major subdivision. We do have a tall weeds and grass ordinance that covers major subdivisions, which was 4 lots or greater. The height of the grass has to be 15 inches or taller, and unmaintained or uncut properties can be inspected, letters are sent out, and if the process is not taken care of by the owner, then the county could come in and we could take them to court, or we place a lien on that property after we cut it on abandoned properties. If it's homeowner occupied, court, and if it's abandoned and not occupied, we can go in with our mowing equipment and place a lien on that property for our time and efforts on cleaning that property up. Also, not only tall weeds and grass, but we cover open storage and pure property maintenance. You know, if the house is in bad repair, up to the point where it might be a life safety situation. And that's our big numbers, no doubt, is what our increase was on our reports. On the next page, you have a report on our salvage yard activities in the county, and this is just for information that that you can identify where these properties are located. Our zoning ordinance gives us a definition of a salvage yard or junkyard, which pertains to any land that is not a major subdivision. Scrap metal, waste, rags, waste paper, things of that nature being either collected and for sale, and dismantling of automobiles, 4 or more unlicensed or inoperable vehicles out in the county. In subdivisions, which is under our tall weeds and grass ordinance, it covers major subdivisions, which lots have been identified, 4 or more lots in a named subdivision. And it is one unlicensed or inoperable vehicle that is allowed in a major subdivision. Our approved salvage yards are listed below with 5 on 2 on Mount Herman, 1 on Leanna, Central Valley, Flat Rock Road, and Shelbyville Highway. Our grandfathered auto salvage yards are Midland Fosterville, Shelbyville Highway, and Woodbury Highway. So that just lets you know where these locations are. Our numbers on our inspection report many times are just covering subdivisions where people's got 3 cars, 4 cars, and we go out, we list that as a junkyard because that's basically the definition. On the next page, you have our development tax collections. $43,500 was collected in the building codes department and $8,250 in planning, of $51,750. Cumulative totals, $787,500. And a breakdown is below that of where the fees were collected with Rutherford County leading the development for May. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Everybody had time to look over the reports, see if you got any questions, ask David. No questions, we'll take a motion to approve the reports.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Planning Department.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening. A couple of handouts for you today. The first is our subdivision lot inventory. You'll notice it's a we have another attachment on here, which I'll get to in just a minute. You'll see that we had one recorded subdivision, major subdivision, which is this time 4 or more lots, 10 additional lots for Colonial Estates, Section 12, Phase 1D. The total newly recorded lots again was 10. On that third page, you see kind of a small breakdown there. Total available lots is 1,492. Those are all the lots again that have been reported. Total available lots this time last year was 1,519, so it has gone down a little bit, but it's basically trending. It has been trending down over the last few months, but not significantly. So it broke the 1,500 lot mark there this month, but it does kind of fluctuate, but it has trended down for the last few months, just for your information. Also, we included the quarterly report for the subdivision lot inventory by school zones for your information. I won't go through all of this, but I think you're all familiar with the format of this. If you have any questions, I'll be more happy to answer those. As far as any zoning hearings this month, the Planning Commission did not consider any rezoning requests last month, so we will not be having any public hearings before you at next week's meeting. So other than that, I have included our normal report as far as the Board of Zoning Appeal report and also our site plans from the April meeting. Other than that, I just have a budget amendment, which I believe I passed out prior to the meeting. This is just a request to shift around some money in our budget. This will not be any new funds. Basically what we're asking for is to shift some money from our board and committee member fees to a couple of different line items. The first one being data processing and supplies. You'll see we're asking for an additional $3,170 in that line item. That's just for some software upgrades to our computer. The computers in our office, basically Microsoft Office. Most of our machines are running fairly dated copies of that. This would pretty much get all of our computers onto a newer version of that, which would help us in the office. The other is moving $6,000 into our consultant line item. This is our contract that we have with our consultant for the comprehensive plan and the zoning and subdivision regulation update. The amount of work they've billed us for went up just a little bit over the $100,000 that we had originally budgeted this year, but that's not an increase in our contract or anything. Basically, that much more spent in this fiscal year will be that much less remaining in next fiscal year. So they just got a little bit more done than we anticipated, so which is not a bad thing. So that's really all the request. We still have plenty. Well, we'll still have leftover funds even in that line item, the board and committee member fees, even with this request. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have on that.
When does this finalize on the consultants? Did they'll be through and out of here?
As far as the funding is concerned, we owe about another $16,000, $17,000. Now, time-wise, that's probably going to be spread out over the next several months. They're making good progress as far as the document itself. Of course, there'll be a lot of public input as far as the new zoning regulations and the map amendments that'll have to be done. So, I mean, a lot of that's going to have to be staff-driven anyway. So, but we're hopeful 6 months to a year to have new zoning regulations in place.
Anybody got any other questions? No. If not, we'll vote on the budget change there first.
Need a motion.
Y'all need a motion on it, and then we'll have to call a roll.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes. Now we'll vote on the planning report.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Dale.
Our stormwater program each summer uses interns to go out and monitor our streams. And they've got a Trimble, a piece of equipment that we bought through a grant about 5 years ago. This Trimble records position and we take pictures and some other things. We have to redo that every summer. That piece of equipment went out on us last week. And so we need to replace that. And what we're doing is we're moving line items, money from several different line items to allow us to move that into other supplies to replace that piece of equipment. We sent that equipment off for an amendment to see what it would cost to fix it, thinking if it was $200 or $300, we'd just repair it and go on. The latest we got today was it's gonna cost around $1,800 to just fix what's wrong with it now, and then we can still got a piece of equipment that's 5 years old. So we wanted to get this new piece of equipment where, in conjunction going through OIT, they've been able to give us some reduced prices and stuff. So basically, that's what this money's doing. There's not asking for additional funds. We're just moving out of all these other line items to allow us to buy that piece of equipment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions? On the roll.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett,
Yeah.
just a quick question, when they go out and they're doing the streams, which streams do they do in the county?
We're basically walking all the streams in the county.
So every single one of them?
Yeah, they originally did a inventory on those 5 years ago where we marked all the outfalls. So the past 4 years, including this year, we're going back to all those, just those outfalls and checking those. Now, next year, they have to redo the inventory, which means they'll have to walk every one of them again, plus there's some additional sampling. We thought we were going to have to do this summer. EPA's put it off the next summer. We'll have to do some water sampling. We're actually, we've got in our budget, you probably remember going through a contract with MTSU to use them to do some sampling for us on the health of the stream, they call it, and stuff. So we got some other things that are going on. But we thought that was going to happen this summer, but like I say, they put it off until next summer.
What was the reason for putting it off? Did they?
It came down to a lawsuit. We understand their original estimate was going to cost communities X number of dollars. Communities come back and said, no, it's going to cost, 3 times X number of dollars. So the court told EPA to go back, and I think they gave them like April or May to come back with a figure that's correct. They didn't say you don't have to do the work. They just want to give a better estimate. As you know, it's an unfunded mandate, so that's the reason we're having to do all it. But it's just tied up in court cases is what it's best.
What happens after we had all the storms that came through? What happens if they're walking a stream and they, and it's backed up or?
Well, at that
Or
time, we
storm
would
damage.
document a new position. We keep a database that the state will audit our program, come through, and we use that. If it's a problem that we might could solve, we've been, county as a whole, with a small project, then I would approach the highway department, the public works crew we have there, to see if we can do something to correct that particular problem.
Any other questions? Did?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Landfill report.
Good evening, how are y'all?
Good, Mac.
Landfill's kinda running the same as it has been. It's hot, so it's slowed down just a little bit as far as the volumes coming in. We're gonna do a budget amendment here toward the end and deals with tires, so let me update you on tires just a little bit. The state is relooking at the tire grants and how they do those. Currently, we take tires in by the numbers and we recycle them by the tons. So it's a number that you'll never catch up to, close to what a tire weighs versus the number of tires. They're looking at changing it to where a tire, they just count it by the tires. We still have to recycle by the ton. Had a meeting last week about this and got another meeting Thursday dealing with tires on manifesting the tires. The program is something that the state set up. They explained it to us. I never understood why we had this program. Tire dealers in the past, years ago, didn't have a way to get rid of their tires. So the state set up a way through the counties to where we assisted the tire dealers in getting rid of the tires, and now we brought the residential side into it. That's never what it was intended for. Now it's a little better way for the dealers to deal with their tires, so it may be in the future, if they take legislation to do it, that program may go away completely, to where the tire dealers just deal with their tires on their own, and the counties are out of the tire business, which would be a good thing for us. But other than that, that's really all I have on the landfill report. Ready to go to the convenience center?
Wait a minute, repeat that again about,
About the tires?
yeah, the last thing you said.
Eventually, what the state of the meeting that I attended last week, what TDEC is looking at is the possibility of the tire grant program as we know it going away completely. To where if you're a tire dealer, it's your issue to get rid of your tires and not the residents of the county. It's the
Yeah, but
only,
what about the residents got tires?
that'll be up to the county to deal with. The state won't be involved in it at all.
But I mean, they still take the tires,
Yeah, we'll still have to take the tires.
cause I misunderstood you. I didn't want us to get back like it used to be, having tires rolled out all over the county.
Well, what was brought out last week, and I never looked at it that way until the guy from Sullivan County brought it up, was it's the only waste stream that we deal with in the state of Tennessee that the taxpayers support the businesses to get rid of their waste. And I thought, well, that's a true statement. So what they're looking at is, you know, if you're in business to do business, you need to take care of your waste yourself.
Well, they ought to put a tax on them and tax them at the dealer
They do.
on that.
If you go buy a new tire today, they'll charge you $1.35 for a pre-disposal fee. The state gets $1.25 of that. The dealer keeps 10 cents for processing. Most dealers add additional money to it because it costs them more than that to get red of it. It costs us more than that to get rid of it. So it's, you're paying when you buy the tire, plus funding it through budgets like this, it's getting funded you personally when you purchase, plus us collectively. And that's what they're looking at doing away with, is doing it to where if we're gonna do it collectively, we're gonna do it for the citizens, not for the businesses.
How much did you say it would save us? You said it would be good for us. What
It would
other
be,
areas?
it would be good for us as to where we would wind up charging you for a tire. If you had a tire, we'd have to charge you whatever it cost us, or just absorb it in our budget in some manner. But the tire dealers would have to deal with their own.
Well, it's consistent with everything else.
Right.
I don't know why that tires would be any different than
And it may
oil
take
or
years,
anything like that.
years for us to get there.
Well, at least they're talking about it now. I guess the point is to start that discussion.
The meeting that I was in, out of the 95 counties in the state of Tennessee, Rutherford is the only county that can almost make the tire grant work. We're gonna do a budget amendment here in a little bit to move $25,000. Most counties are way past that. There was one county there, and I forgot where it was from, there's 25,000 residents in the county, and they're $6,000 behind. You know, we're what, 2.5 million residents, and $25,000 behind, so, you know, we're doing a whole lot better than they are.
Now, did you say you may get to the point that you'd be charging a citizen when he brings his tires to the county?
It's either gonna be charging you personally, or it will be tied into the budget to where your tax dollars are
See,
paid
that's-
for. I mean, it's gotta be
that's
paid for one way or the
That's a
other.
question I raised a while ago. When you get back into that again, you're gonna have tires all over the county.
Mhm.
A lot of people are not gonna pay for a tire. And I hope we don't get back in that mess.
I hope we don't
Keep county
either.
clean.
A lot of the farmers years ago, you know, had the bunker silos and put the tarp on it, and then they'd put the tires on top of that, and that would be their silage feed for the winter. Most of them don't do that anymore. So most of those big stockpile of tires on the farms are gone away. There's still a few of them out there, but most of them are gone. And then most people now, if you go buy a tire, you don't take that tire home with you. Very seldom you do. You know, so that the need for that is a little less than what it used to be in the past.
Mac, I have a question. You've talked to us before about the lifespan of our landfills. Is it on the way we dispose of class 3 versus the class 4 materials, do those go in the same landfill, or are there different areas?
Our landfill was permitted as a class 3-4 landfill. That classification really doesn't exist anymore. All of them are class 3. We're still called a class 3-4, but we're technically a class 3 landfill. And it's just the demolition debris, the same thing that we
But
take.
you take the class 4 materials.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so what is the lifespan of the landfill?
Our landfill, probably, we're working on, slowly working toward an expansion. We're probably looking at 15 to 25 years with our landfill. Middle Point landfill, when I talked to them a couple of weeks ago, they're looking at 19 years on theirs. So we're still have some landfill space for quite a few years. Through the Jackson Law and some other things, there's only been one landfill permitted in Tennessee since the early 1990s, and that was just a few weeks ago over in East Tennessee. But the way the Jackson Law reads, if I have all the money in the world, the best piece of property, TDEC loves what our game plan is and what we're gonna do, and it comes to the county commission, and county commission says no, then I don't have the business. I can't go there. So the local governments have the opportunity to stop it. Everybody needs a landfill, but nobody wants one in their backyard.
Right.
2 weeks ago, I went to a thing to, it's a company out of Idaho. I like their game plan. I'd like to see it work in a better way, but they took all the trash from the transfer station for 4 days in this little town in Idaho, and they ran it through a big shredder, and they put it in compost piles, and they injected these microorganisms into it, and 10 weeks later, it was just a big pile of dirt. Every bit of it went away. The only thing that they had an issue with was plastic beverage containers. If they did not get ground up, then they didn't go away. But their whole game plan is to do away with landfills completely. So that's something that's kind of futuristic. The mayor and I discussed it briefly, and for us, if we had that process going today, it would cost us $1 million a year just to buy the microorganisms. Right now, we have free disposal, but if we were to pay for it, city and county combined.
Like they got up in McMillan right now that does the fluff deal, so.
That's a waste away to where they're actually transforming it into something useful.
Right, a product.
Right. This deal would make it into more of a potting soil type stuff.
Right.
And then they say you can sell the dirt, and I'm sure you can for a while. But you know, if you do it all right here in the county, you're gonna run out of buyers for your dirt.
On the class 4 materials, do we recycle as much of that as we can? Or
No.
any of it? No, none of it's recycled.
No, if it comes in, unless it's a big piece of metal or electronics, we'll pull the electronics out, or a big piece of metal, rest of it we bury it.
That's all I have.
Anybody else got any questions? All right,
There you go, convenience center.
ready to go to convenience center.
Get this one in the minutes, Becky. Good news. Mr. Black likes good news. I don't have good news very often. I checked today, in the past 11 months, through our recycling efforts, we have generated $324,831 in revenue.
Wow.
We were estimated to generate 75,000, so we're a little over budget there. Now, if you remember, quite some time back, we did a budget amendment to purchase a truck out of this revenue. That truck came in yesterday. So if you take the cost of that truck out, which is $132,778, we still wind up with $192,000+ and still have a month to go. I thought that was a little good news.
That's very
It is
good.
good news.
I guess other good news is, I don't know if y'all know these folks or not, but Randall Mouse Barrett, front loader driver for the county, has been working for 36, 37 years, something like that. Will retire at the end of the month. And then Peggy Clanton is the last full-time convenience center attendant. She operated the Eagleville Center for the last 18 years, and she's going to retire. So we wish both of those well.
I know Mousy, as I call him. Practically, I guess, raised by him. I've been knowing him for a good while. He's a faithful employee to the county.
Yes, he is.
And,
And he's one of those type of employees, when you go to him and say, Mouse, let's try this, okay. He'll look at it and see what you're trying to do, and he'll try his best to make it work for you. And if it's not working, he'll come back and say, well, we change this or this might work. I mean, he'll help you get to where you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I hate seeing him retire, but I'm proud of him.
yeah.
And on the convenience center side, recycle hauls are still about 25% of what we're doing. Revenues are still holding pretty consistent, so we're doing pretty good on that. That's all I have other than budget business.
Anybody got any questions on the report? Not, we'll approve the reports, yeah. We'll
Make a
go to
motion to
budget.
approve the report.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
And then you see, in front of you, budget amendments, and, the top section comes out of the convenience center budget, and the bottom section is coming out of the landfill. So what we're asking to do is, the convenience center solid waste equipment, we're gonna take some money out of that, we're gonna also take some money out of the asphalt fund, and we're gonna put it into utilities, maintenance, and repair of vehicles, gasoline, and diesel fuel. And then on the bottom section is what we were talking about, tires. We're gonna take some money out of the post-closure, private agencies, contracts with private agencies, $25,000, and move it into tires to where we can deal with that. And then the bottom part of it is actually recognizing that money into the budget to where it can be spent later.
Make a motion to approve the budget amendment.
A second.
anybody got any questions on the budget amendment? Not, we'll call a roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good evening.
Okay, Mayor, you got the contract with the Regional Transportation Authority?
Yes, sir. This is the routine agreement, the grant agreement we have every year between the RTA and Rutherford County, and they have similar agreements with Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, and MTSU and Davidson County, whereby this is the Relax and Ride program, Murfreesboro Relax and Ride, which goes from Murfreesboro to Smyrna to Laverne to Nashville. There's 16 trips a day, more than 200 people a day on those buses riding that, and they had 74,000, over 74,000 riders accounted for last year, so this is in our budget.
Mayor, has they got that broke down on each municipality as far as food goes? I mean, they got that broke down.
I don't have it, as far as,
Laverne, Murfreesboro.
we're all paying the same money. You're talking about the riders?
Right.
I don't know the riders by route. They probably do. There's 16 separate
But
routes.
every municipality, they're chipping into this,
Yeah.
right?
All of us that I named off there, including Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, MTSU, and us, are putting in $12,400. That's what this agreement is for. Davidson County's putting in $26,570. There's a lot of other money from the state and from TDOT and from the federal government, which is funding the large measure of this. So in any event, we need to approve this grant agreement that says that we will again pay $12,400 over to the RTA for our part of this matching fund, you might say, of this Murfreesboro Relax and Ride service that the RTA provides. I don't have a copy for everybody, but I've got a couple here if I want to give them. It's the same thing we've had for many years.
Anybody got any questions on it?
Does this go to budget?
Yes, it is on the budget. I mean, it's already in our next year's budget, but we need to put it in the budget too.
Anyway.
Need a motion to approve, man.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes. Anybody got any other business? Not, I'll move with adjourn.